deliver it halfway through the stream.
Yeah. Fucking nice, but see, yeah. And we are live. Hi, guys and girls. Going from a 7 here. Well, today's live stream, we'll be reviewing episode 5 of series 11, the Tsuranga Conundrum. We've got a week to pronounce it and say how it was. Joined by the two brilliant guests, Adam Northmith-Hoovian.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello, and I'm also joined by Philip.
Hello.
Awesome stuff. So we're going to be reviewing the episode 5 of series 11, which has got a fairly mixed reaction on social media. I was quite surprised, but we'll also be going to all our thoughts. I'm sure we've got all quite interesting opinions bouncing off each other. But I'll say, what are your thoughts on the live streams? Please let us know what your thoughts are on the live stream for the episode. As we go, first off, we're going to look at the synopsis and titles for episodes 7 and 8, which was released pretty much, was it midnight, I believe, on the Sunday? I think
it was fun waiting up for that.
Yeah, I think I was on the phone too, and I was literally falling asleep, so I had to sadly get into it in the morning. But there we are. So this is for the next couple episodes after this Sunday's episode. One, I'd say we didn't really know much about, and the other we were kind of obviously knew quite a bit about based on like promotional material. So the first episode, well, not first, but the first episode was announced, episode 7, which is called Kablam, with an exclamation mark. Which reads, the delivery for the Doctor. A mysterious message arrives in a package addressed to the Doctor, leading her, Graham, Yaz and Ryan to investigate the warehouse moon orbiting Kanduka, and home of the galaxy's largest retailer, Kablam. So what are your guys' thoughts on Amazon in space? Any of you want to start first?
Oof. No, you go first, Adam.
Well, all I feel like I know about this episode, I think that's the one where Lee Mack is guest starring. So, I thought he was playing a cat, although that's yet to be seen. I think this is one that I really don't know. Apart from like the premise, I haven't. It's the one that I didn't necessarily expect, because I knew we were getting the Rosa Parks. I knew vaguely about that. I knew we were getting at the Alan Cumming Witchfinders, which of course will be the following one. Like these storylines, I guess, it's quite cool that they kind of kept from us. That and I guess I never would have expected them to do Amazon Space at some point. It's not one of my most anticipated episodes, I guess. I look forward to definitely this week's and actually the week after with the Witchfinders, but I don't know where I sit with this one. It's kind of there in the middle. I hope it's not like another filler, but we'll see. It's a all right concept, I guess.
Do you think it's got going to have a strong anti-Amazon-esque message to it?
Probably, just like the anti-Trump from, or rather the Trump parallels in. They're
going to have like slave labor in warehouses and things.
Yeah, that'd be quite interesting actually, because like I said, obviously we all sort of expect, obviously like you said with Amazon, obviously they've got in trouble for that kind of stuff. I was recently hacked by Amazon actually, and I got this is quite a funny story. So I got a kitchen set ordered to my house. So somebody got into my account, hacked into all my stuff, and just decided to order a kitchen set to my house.
Oh,
yeah.
So they didn't order it themselves. They ordered it
to my house, yeah. Which is weird. So, but Amazon was like useless. I've been on it for like ages. So kind of like it'd be quite interesting if they sort of bring, how far. Obviously, we sort of expect deliveries and that in a day. Do you remember? Obviously, both people don't know about how that process goes. So it'd be interesting, obviously, if that's obviously this is the first episode written by Pete McTighe, which was his first Doctor Who script. So yeah, it'd be nice for these next few episodes to have a sort of new writers, which is really awesome. And obviously episode 8, which is called The Witchfinders. Obviously we have Alan Cumming. The synopsis reads: the Dr. Ryan, Graham and Yaz arrive in the 17th century, Lancashire, and become embroiled in a witch trial run by the local landowner. As fears thought to land, the arrival of King James the First only served to intensify the witch hunt. But there was something even more dangerous at work. Doctor and friends keep the people of Bilhurst Craig safe and all forces that are massing in the land. Yeah, I think it's great to see more historicals this season. This is something really cool. Like Alan Cumming's an actor. So, what are your guys' thoughts? Starting with Adam on the episode 8 synopsis.
Yeah, I really look forward to the historical episode, just because I think because they knocked Rose out of the park, I'm just so confident. You know, them going back in time and doing, and also it's kind of stuff we didn't get a whole lot of in the sort of Capaldi era and such, and I miss it, and I kind of feel like it's nice to have like a few of those in there with this week's in India, the 40s, and then yeah, of course, Witchfinder one. I look forward to seeing what Alan Cumming does with King James the First. I think he'll be. I think it'll be a very fascinating performance. I love the image they've chosen as well, with Jodie got like with an apple stuck to her mouth. That was really funny. And if I was going back to the Kablam one, like Bradley Walsh or Grover Graham wearing a cardigan, which just gave me Ian Chesterton vibes like straight off the bat. He's becoming just as lovable as Ian Chesterton, really getting that from it. What I'm really looking forward to, I think it's going to be quite spooky, and I don't know, maybe we get the return of the alien cloud from that 10th Doctor audio, Death and the Queen, where it was that historical one with that. I think the villain was like literally a massive alien cloud overlord creature taking over. It was an historical one, so somehow I just got vibes of that, and it was one I really enjoyed. So I think this stuff sounds like my cup of tea. Yeah,
I'm interested. I've linked it back to Big Finish stuff, but yeah, what you Philip?
I'm liking the fact that they're going to historicals quite a lot. I was quite looking forward to getting more historicals, and I was hoping for a pure historical, but it's quite clear we're not getting that at all. But that's fine. We're getting some nice. It'd be interesting. Rosa was obviously brilliant, I thought. So they knocked it out of the park, I think, with the first historical. It'd be interesting to see what happens this week, because that's another historical. But I think if this one this week gets they pull this off well as well, then I don't have any worries about this other one, because clearly that's historicals are one of the strengths of the series if they manage to pull it off 3 times in a row. This is the one that was kind of rumored about for quite a while as well, so I think we've always all been expecting this one. And you know, was it Alan Cumming himself that slipped that he was going to be in it? Yeah, it was, wasn't he?
This is kind of the one that people said that this is going to be the Halloween episode.
Yeah, and then it wasn't on Halloween. It feels like it should be, and it kind of feels like they planned it that way. That picture you mentioned, she's apple bobbing, it looks like. So this should have been at Halloween, but maybe they had planned originally to have the series slightly earlier or something, and something delayed it.
That would make sense with the salad guy in episode 1 saying Halloween's next month, mate. Maybe it was going to be September.
Could well have been. They've all shuffled it all around. Who knows? Yeah, no. I was saying Alan Cumming was obviously announced. Well, accidentally announced. It wasn't just a radio show, wasn't it? He did an apology to it. I remember afterwards. But I think but it depends obviously where we're going so far. But I think the historical is probably the strongest of the lot so far. So it'd be interesting how they play out. So, so we obviously got those episodes to look forward to.
It's also interesting. Oh, so I feel bad with Lee Mack. He also leaked his that he was going to be in the series as well, because I think he was on the radio with Sharon D. Clark. I think it was in that interview where she revealed, "Oh, I'm playing Bradley Walsh's husband," and then Lee Mack said, "Oh, I'm going to be in it as well," which is quite amusing. So both guest stars of the next couple of episodes have leaked their involvement with the series. So good for that. That's good on them.
Oh, bless them. Yeah, I bet the people at Dr. Christians were going, "Oh no!" Great. Yeah, as I say, we've kept so much of a secret so far. So if we go on to the review, let's look at the comments quickly. There's a few thoughts on the episode, which I'll leave for a bit. We've got the Doctor Who guide. Hi, mate. He says, "Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's well." He said the historicals have been great so far. Yeah, hopefully this Sunday's episode sort of keeps on on that track. David, who says, I went to uni at Lancaster, and the witch stories are still very much a part of the remembered history there. So that's pretty interesting. So it depends, see how they sort of commemorate that. So let's start our review of the Tsuranga Conundrum, 5th episode of Series 11. So Synopsis reads, as the 13th Doctor and her friends end up stranded without the TARDIS on a orbital ship in space with a strange and potentially deadly intruder on board, it's up to them, the crew, to figure out what it is that wants and how to stop the creature tears the ship apart. So I don't know you guys, but I didn't really know, obviously we didn't sort of know much about the episodes through the promotion images compared to what we knew before going in and afterwards. If you could sort of tell the episode through before, after seeing the episode and before seeing it, how would you explain it to your past self? So, if you want to go first.
How would you explain it to your past self? Yeah, because I think the marketing. I think one of the biggest flaws. I didn't mind the episode generally. I thought the episode was an okay episode, but I think one of the biggest flaws was potentially the marketing of it and the way they described it in the synopsis and the way they cut the trailer together. I think gave people an impression of what it was going to be that it didn't turn out to be, and that therefore disappointed some people, which probably didn't help it. So so I think the first thing I'd say to my past self watching it is ignore all the marketing. It's nothing like that. So that'd be my key bit of advice to my previous self. And it, I know, strange little creature puts them in a life or death situation by eating the ship. There's been so many comparisons to like Lilo from Lilo and Stitch or Nibbler from Futurama. I'd probably mention those as well. Like little random creature eating the ship, eating a hospital ship, and they're all in danger and they need to survive.
That's a better job promoting it than the BBC. It was. I tell you what, this week I've seen so many like different comparisons that the thing. Like people did compare it to even Stitch, Shrek, doing like different combinations. People had so much creativity on Twitter. What about you, Adam? Would you even attempt to describe it to your past self?
I literally just walked into the room as soon as you said that. Sorry, I just had to go for a bit, and I'll be ready. Okay. If I'll describe this episode to my past self, imagine if Stitch had a child with the crazy frog, and that was your antagonist for an episode of Doctor Who. And I would have been like, you can't be serious. And then my future self would be like, well, yeah, that's exactly what happens. Then I'm like, well, it's definitely, I wouldn't take him seriously, basically. Right. In summation, I wouldn't have taken him seriously if he, because it is, my bad. Because it's a based on the Siege story, I feel like I wanted to take the villain more seriously. In this regard, I guess that's sort of a norm, and them sort of doing that. Okay, it's a flip, so the villain isn't like that too intimidating or threatening. It's a cute little thing, and they want to do something different. I get that, but at the same time, I found the mere presence of this creature slightly annoying. It's weird because I don't mind sort of the adipose. I think it's kind of it's the two kind of tonal shifts of this kind of cutesy, Doctor. Yeah, it's the devil. This kind of cutesy Doctor Who with the kind of base under siege, like the sort of they're trying to build like such huge tension, and then it's kind of based under siege of the adipose. I just feel like I wouldn't be able to take it too seriously. I think that's too clashes the tones, not really melding together. Whereas the adipose, or like a threat like it, or that looks like it, fits better with that kind of lighter story that Partners in Crime did. So it's a strange mishmash, and especially when you describe based under siege, that villain that we got wouldn't exactly be the one I think. Oh yeah, perfect. Do you know? That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Fair enough. Yeah, I was watching a review earlier. I believe it was Vote Saxon, and he compared it to Star Wars by sort of exceeding the Last Jedi, for example, specifically. And he was saying that it was like exceeding expectations. Like obviously going to it with a base of siege story, but it just was like, nope, it's not this. It's on its head. But yeah, obviously we'll get into our thoughts in specifics later on. So yeah, so obviously the first scene was set on a junkyard. Planet type thing. Just it was nice. I think how they'd said that they'd been on a few more journeys. Like there was a bit of gap of time between episode 4 and 5. Obviously, then they find a sonic mine, and it shows the alternative ending to Genesis of the Daleks, where the mine goes off. I don't think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there was an explanation why they were on the planet. Finding
No, not really.
No, I really wish to say. Yeah, they're doing something, but we don't know what. So, yeah, what do you think of that opening scene? There you go, mate.
I said big finish will plug that gap in 10 years' time.
Yeah, yeah, they got the rights eventually. And yeah, obviously they go on to the spaceship, and that whole sort of ensemble starts. So yeah, what did you think of that kind of that juxtaposition of going onto the planet into the hospital?
Yeah, the first scene was yeah, it was good. The one thing that was I guess the one thing that slightly annoyed me about it was that and only because it seems to be happening several times throughout the series so far, is that the Doctor seems to be making a lot of mistakes in this series so far, and that was fun. I'm all good for the Doctor making mistakes because I like a Doctor that's a bit fallible. I think when the Doctor gets too perfect and just swooping in and saving the day all the time, it's a bit annoying. But the reverse is also true. If the Doctor's making too many mistakes all the time, it starts to feel like, okay, well, why is she, you know, the hero? So there needs to be a bit of a balance, and I think that. I don't think they're massively tipping too much in the other direction, but it was the first time when I felt, oh, okay, why she made this mistake and almost got them all killed. Yeah, this is the first time that I kind of felt that way. The other mistakes that she's made so far, I've kind of felt, okay, that feels natural and stuff. It just, I don't know, they may just be building up a bit too many of them now. I don't know if that may just be me, but.
No, yeah, now you mention it, mate. Yeah, I completely see. Yeah, yeah, it must have. She did have the more moments of heroicness, but you know, but obviously you have to make mistakes. But I think that it's kind of outweighing the more mistakes than what she's doing good. So yeah, I see what you mean, mate. Yeah, what about you, Adam?
Is he there?
I don't know. He's frozen.
I'm not sure if he's frozen or.
He's just thinking long and hard, yeah. Oh, I don't know if it's gone or not. Oh no.
Well, while he's thinking,
yeah.
So it was beautifully shot. I thought it was that first scene did look amazing.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think anybody can fault the direction and the cinematography of this series because it's been absolutely beautiful throughout. And this was another example of that. It was just the lighting on it was really good and atmospheric, and yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I think I say every year they come out doing themselves with the like cinematography and the way it's looked. Especially this year, they got the visual effects are on point this year. I'm glad they've sort of changed the company they were with. But yeah, the spaceship for this episode was just immaculate. It was just like a hostility in the future, but yeah, it felt spacious, but at the same time quite claustrophobic. But yeah, no, I really did like it. Oh, I don't know what's gone. Oh no, I'm sure I'll be back in a minute. Yeah, going on to the Doctor now. One of my favourites from this episode was something that's obviously we haven't really seen before. Was her being brought back down to Earth by Astos, I believe it was. Where he was saying how about her being like just really selfish, and obviously she was going on this tangent and going like, right, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, going my spaceship back, and you're just like, hang on, we have patience on. think of them first. So it was a really great moment. What did you think of that moment, Philip?
Yeah, I loved that. I thought it was absolutely brilliant because she was getting a bit carried away with the getting back to the TARDIS, and so very single-mindedly focused on that. And I just loved the way sort of just like you say, brought her back down and was like, "Stop! You're being selfish." And it just took that, and then she was like, "You're right. Yes, I am." And yeah, it was a really nice moment. I think it's sort of not what we're used to seeing necessarily. We're used to seeing the Doctor change other people's minds, not necessarily people stopping the Doctor and going like making her change her mind. So yeah, lovely moment.
Yeah, no, as I say, it's something we never usually see really with that character, which is great. Just going down a bit now. Yeah, so obviously she goes on the spaceship, getting all introduced to all the different characters. Obviously she first meets Astos. Obviously he's only in it for the first 10-15 minutes. His character is quickly gotten rid of due to one of his silly mistakes. Yeah, I really like the actor, but I'm not sure if it works with his character because the performance I've seen him in Derek, which is like a comedy show, he's quite like chilled back. And obviously when he got backed out into the space pod and exploded, I think they were trying intention of bringing that bit of you always should be oh no, but I didn't have no sort of like connection to his death. Do you know what I mean? Because he's quite a chilled back actor. I didn't know his inspirational scene in the space pod I didn't think was that inspirational. What did you think of that, Philip?
I didn't recognize him from anything previously, so I didn't have any sort of preconceptions of him as an actor going in. So I like you said, he was very laid back in Derek. Well, because I haven't seen that, I probably wasn't already thinking that. Although saying that, he was quite laid back as a doctor as well, doctor / nurse, whatever they were. But they but I think I thought it kind of worked, him being quite laid back, and not so much laid back, but just sort of calm and calming. It sort of seemed like a very good bedside manner in a way that would sort of reassure patients and things. So it kind of struck me as the kind of attitude that someone should have in that job. So I thought it fitted quite well in terms of whether or not it hampered the tension. Maybe when he was in the escape pod getting shot out, maybe then, because he was still, even though he was panicking a little bit, was still quite calm and down to earth about it and sort of accepting. So maybe that could have done with a bit more there, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I like that view on it. Actually, I didn't really see it. That was pretty cool. Adam, glad you're back.
Yes.
Yeah, so we just talked about the Doctor's moment of being brought back down to earth by Astos for calling her selfish, and Astos' character. So yeah, just give your opinions on that, I guess.
I think the actor Brett Goldstein, if I remember correctly, I think he gave a really good performance. Sort of felt like you had this. He did it well of sort of one of the chaps in charge of the whole thing and keeping everything in balance. And I kind of like she kind of was a little bit. I'm surprised the Doctor didn't really pick up on it earlier, the fact that she was being a little selfish just to sort of get back to the ship. But yeah, I just think he was very good. Of course, he was the first one to get killed off as well. I think he was the only one to get killed off.
No, the general as well.
Yes, that's right. I remember this episode so fondly.
Yeah, she kind of died in natural causes. I think he was like,
well, yeah, I suppose
so. The thing, but yeah, both died. So.
Yes. Yeah, he was very good, actually. Very good actor. Very good performance. Maybe one of my, I don't know. I'd probably say Bailey Smith was my favorite of the guest cast, but he was very good too. Yeah, Astos, thumbs up.
Oh, that's brilliant. What do you think of the Doctor being brought back down from getting called selfish? You know, for doing a sort of tangent around the spaceship, putting the passengers at risk.
Yeah, as I was saying before, I was just kind of surprised that the Doctor kind of pleaded her way, and I'm surprised someone had to like sort of point it out, because a kind of kind, friendly Doctor like her probably would have picked up on it sooner. So I was quite surprised that she had a moment of, you know, feeling selfish, and because she just got separated from a ship that she, you know, hadn't spent a lot of time with, I guess, only a couple episodes, and she even says like, "Oh, I only just got it back." I think what we were saying earlier about sort of the mining planet they were on before, it was only there just really so because the TARDIS is there to have them separated from the TARDIS for the moment, and then that whole base under siege, get that sorted, and then they'll get back kind of thing. Been there, done that, but you know, it's no, I don't think anyone's really getting too bored of it, and they tried their best to really, you know, do something new with it. It didn't particularly connect to me, but it connected with other people, so that's good. Yeah, I thought it was kind of. I think we could have spent a little longer on there, perhaps, just to really get an understanding of why they really were there, because I think it was like literally a minute or so. They were on there, saw the mine. Oh, 3, 2, 1, and then they're already on the ship. I think it was a bit too quick, but yeah.
Fair dues. Yeah, going through the companions now. We have some really nice characters with some of them. Starting with Yaz, who I thought was sadly put to the background again. There are no really highlighted moments. Like obviously, we had the start of it in Arachnids in the UK against her family. But again,
I have learned something from her. She's a footy. She's a footy fan because she kicks Pating across the which is weird. She just kicks him across the ship. I didn't just
down a corridor.
Yeah, I don't know why, but hey,
I think that was because they're running out of time and the stun was wearing off. So she had like seconds till the stun wore off. So she had to try and get it as far away as possible. So the quickest way to get it away in the short amount of time she had was to kick it. I think that was the gist.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That was one of the sort of highlight moments from the episode. She had a really nice scene with Ryan, but again, didn't really sort of order a character, sadly. What do you think about Yaz in this episode? Starting with Philip.
She's pushed back into the background a little bit. She did have that. She did have a nice scene with Yaz, but now Yaz had a nice scene with Ryan. But you know, it was about fathers, wasn't it? Yeah, I was about to say I've completely forgotten what it was about, but it was about him and his father. So it was kind of, you got a little bit of a development of her relationship with him. I still think they're setting them up as a potential couple, and it was they've had a few bits where they've been flirting over the few very mild flirting, just 1 or 2 comments over the last few episodes, and this kind of felt like the first time that they were establishing like some emotional bond between the two of them, which was quite, if they are going down that route of having them as a couple eventually, that's quite nice that they're starting to put that in. Of course, I may be completely misreading it and they may not be going down that route at all, but but if they are, it's quite nice to have that established. But it was only a very small bit of the episode, so in terms of her character for the whole episode, there wasn't much. That was pretty much it.
Well, you Adam.
Yeah, I think I just give it to Mandip Gill really for really keeping it up, keeping the energy up. I think they all do really. Despite, I mean, some have less screen time than the others in different kind of episodes, dependent on what the focus is on. Still giving it 110%, and I do enjoy like the moments she has. I love the when she's with the doctor at the end and she said, pick a number, and 51. I was like. And then she kind of was like, she asked, "Oh, what was that for?" And just said, "Oh, that's the number of seconds like added to the bomb." And it's like, "Oh, 51." And then the doctor said, "Oh, you could have gone higher." They had nice banter, a little decent like banter moment there. What I thought was funny. This is I'm probably going way out of left field. Because she said 51. I'm pretty sure this episode is 51 minutes. I don't know if that was some weird reference to that. Just because like 42. I think might have even been 42 minutes. I don't know. That's definitely something. That's just some weird thing I came up with. But yeah, Mandip is cool. I know that we're definitely going to be getting more Yasmin focused in the next episode, which I'm great because we're going to see her grandmother, which I think will be really fascinating. because we had a bit of a we've seen her dad, seen her mum, seen her sister, and now we get this really interesting look into with her grandmother. I'm just trying to think back to that Ryan and Yaz conversation. No, I don't think she mentioned anyone, did she? Mentioned any of her family. It was more like
supporting Ryan.
Yeah,
it was more supporting Ryan. For some reason I thought she might have mentioned. Wow, I'm really trying to remember this. I'm really trying to recollect that. I've not really seen it since. I gave it a little rewatch on Monday, but I think because of my first viewing, I was just trying to get through it, I suppose, because it's a roller coaster for this episode for me. It kind of has its ups and downs, kind of gets like Arachnids in the UK, and it's all trying to. It didn't really leave that much of an impact on me, I guess. So I do apologise, audience, if I'm mixing things up. Of course, been very busy bee this week, and yeah.
Did you? Can I ask? Did you guys think? Because I one thing I found strange was that we had 2 episodes back to back that had a very similar. That the team were stuck in a confined space with a group of other people and had to survive a threat in a confined small place that they couldn't get out of. That seemed very strange to have those 2 episodes back to back with such similar basic premises. Did that strike anybody else?
I didn't know. I didn't really realize it until I watched the review the next day. My God, yeah, it is like, but no, not immediately. But as soon as I saw you say it in your review, I was thinking, hang on, right, yeah. Like you'd think with Chris Chibnall, like, but obviously, but written both episodes, you think might just be a bit different here.
Yeah, we'll space them out. Maybe put this one later on in the series or something. But yeah, it just seemed very strange.
Yeah, they could have swapped this with episode 7. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but no, not until you said in your review. But yeah, it was something just was quite strange. But yeah, so on to Ryan now, who got some nice, got to know his character quite a lot. He's been, I think he's been like the main focus of this series, to be honest. So we've got the reveal about the death of his mother, how trauma that was, finding her passed away. And obviously sort of doing stuff with his dad, which obviously paralleled the story with the pregnant bloke. With him sort of realizing what position his dad was in, and obviously helping this bloke going through who was obviously going to give away his child. Yeah, what did you think of the Ryan's subplots in this story and the parallels between the pregnant man? Starting with Adam.
I think it was really cool with Ryan and Graham, where Graham's like, "Oh, when you've been mucking around on YouTube, I've been watching Call the Midwife," and they goes, it's just like, "Oh, what? They didn't have all this on Call the Midwife," and then he's like, "Oh no, I looked away at the squeamish bits." So love his interactions with Graham. It feels so real. It's that kind of grandfather son, the grandson kind of dynamic. I really enjoy that, and it's so convincing as well. I really believe that they have this kind of back. I believe they have this. You believe the history of these characters, where they came from and everything, and to have these kind of characters from Sheffield in this from Sheffield brought into this kind of Doctor Who world. It feels refreshing. It's such a refreshing dynamic and such a fun watch. Toes and Cole's very good at more dramatic stuff as well. It's very clear when he has that conversation with Yaz about his father. Very well performed, and I think Toes and Cole just have such cool range, and whether it's dramatic range or more comedic range. It's cool when Ryan and Yaz go see the pregnant man, and then Ryan say, "Oh, I can't do anything like that," and then Yasmin just checks, about saying, "No, he really can't." I think I love this unit, and it's clear that the actors, it's on screen and off screen, they're getting on so well in it, and even in like the episodes you're not really that bothered about it, they're still so engaging and fun to watch, and I just feel like everyone's. Yes, I'd love to see more from Yaz, but I think everyone's playing their part, and it's not like I'm getting bored of them at all. It's definitely, as I think I keep saying, week by week. I definitely don't feel like I'm getting bored of this team. I think I feel I want to have them kept on for the next series. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, definitely strong vibes from them. And of course, I'll do my Graham bit as well later.
Cool, yeah. Yeah, like even with the past two episodes that have been kind of the weaker ones of this series, like I've been more excited sort of about watching, like they said, this TARDIS team. And even if we have 4 episodes, like you said, you've got that great chemistry with all the on-screen characters. But like you said, you can tell they're having such a great time filming it. Yeah, what did you think about Ryan's insight into Ryan's mind this week, Philip?
Yeah, I love that Ryan is getting the best of the character development, I think, in this series so far. And that's large part that's because he's got the kind of most interesting, the most interesting current situation in terms of like his family life and things. So he's bound to get the most interesting development. He's got the absentee father, he's got the dead mum, and the recently deceased nan. So he's going to have the most of that. But I think he's doing a really good job of it. Tosin Girl's doing a great job. And as Adam said, he plays, the range of emotions and, character quite well, because he does all that, serious stuff really well, and you get the nice scenes between him and Graham, and you had the nice scene this week between him and Yaz that bit about when he finding his mother dead at the kitchen sink. That was great stuff. But he can also do the really comedy stuff as well, and all of the scenes with the pregnant man were, I thought, hilarious, and especially the look on his face when the guy said he's going to name his child Avocado, and just he pulled the the facial expressions, the comic timing was all there. So he's doing a really good job, I think.
Do you know what I found surprising? In episode 1, it's established that he's, he kind of has his own YouTube channel, kind of a vlog channel, webcam thing. I'm surprised that maybe what they could have done this series is maybe, I don't know, maybe he sort of brings his phone and he kind of does little videos, like, so you just sort of see, just see him continue his vlogging, because I think that's pretty much, that is practically one of his hobbies. So he goes on the videos like, oh, so today I was on a spaceship and it was kind of nuts and everything. Yeah. I don't know. I think that would have been cool if they sort of kept that up, because he's a good vlogger. I think he's a very good vlogger. I'm surprised they didn't utilize that during the series, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the same reference again. I think it'd be quite a good thing if they could do like the online content. Like maybe it could be like, like Yaz, obviously Mantic Gill's narrating all the monster case file things.
Oh yeah.
That would be quite cool if he had his own little thing, like sort of vlogging it. But yeah, no, it's a shame they haven't touched on that again. And of course, obviously, Graham, who was had some really obviously hilarious moments at the end, funny stuff in the episode, given when the pregnant man went to labour, like I said, the midwife stuff. Yeah, what did you guys think of Graham? Sorry, Philip.
He had the great comedy stuff in this episode. I don't think he had any of the. He was a bit pushed to the back along with Yaz in a way in this episode, I think, which is fine because they can't, with such a big TARDIS team, they can't have as much focus on everyone every episode. And he has had quite a lot in the episodes in the past, so it's not as much of a problem as Yaz not getting as much screen time because he's had lots of it already. But he was kind of mostly confined to the pregnant man storyline in this, which is fine. I think that works perfectly well, and his comic timing, and Bradley Walsh is known for being a bit of a joker and stuff as well, and I think he brought that in to this quite nicely, and it worked well, and that him and Ryan were a great double act, producing some comedy in those scenes. So yeah, that worked really well.
Awesome. What about you, Adam?
I don't know if I could add much to what has already been said. I think as Philip said, Graham was sort of pushed to the background. I think I still enjoy him. He Bradley Walsh is fantastic, and I'd say he isn't playing. I think it's nice. It's quite nice to sort of not see him as down, because we had like a very somber performance in Arachnids in the UK when he has the scenes going back to the home as soon as he's had all these adventures. So it's quite it's quite nice and refreshing. Him. Kind of sort of taking on board. I like call the midwife's got photo, because he's kind of taking on board the kind of memories. He sort of bringing the kind of his kind of view and perspective to this kind of crazy situation, and it's one of the reasons why I enjoy it. Because when Yasmin and Ryan encounter the pregnant man, them kind of finding out, a pregnant man and it's kind of the boys give birth to boys and girls give birth to girls, and then them kind of. I'm surprised they were like too weirded out. They were quite fascinated. If anything, they were kind of just like, oh right, so this is how this is the future. This is how things are. This is how it's all going to play out. Yeah, I feel like Bradley Walsh. We're lucky to have you, Bradley. We really are. You bring such charm and delight and wonder, and yeah, he is turning out to be one of my favorite male companions we've had. He's really good.
Brilliant to get the love for Graham and Bradley Walsh. Yeah, a few people were commenting about Bradley Walsh. Dr. Guy said, I loved Graham in this episode, and he said also it's great to see them become best friends on screen and in real life. Which is super cool. David Who says, trying to summarize the episode, he says 2 storylines. One was action, and the other was comedy drama, which was he said it was a cliche pregnancy B story on a disaster ship. He said all gender roles were reversed, so Dr. and Yaz did action storyline, and the man handled the pregnancy, which is quite interesting swap. And Flip from the Flop says awful episodes. It's quite a simple summary of that. Yeah, so obviously a load of obviously Arachnids in the UK were a load of guest characters. Another relationship we stood through was Dirkus and Eve, who was a brother and sister. Obviously played by Ben Bailey Smith, and the actress is called Susanna Packer. Obviously said I obviously know Ben from his comedy stand-up stuff. I don't know much about the other actors, but yeah, no, it was again, it was a really believable relationship. I thought the two of them. Obviously, Eva was going through quite a horrible thing, and obviously she didn't want to tell her brother this sort of secrecy thing. Which what do you think? What do you two think of that subplot with the brother and sister with the adrenaline blockers? Starting with Philip.
Started off. Yeah, it was. I like the mystery of it, because you didn't know if the general woman was hiding something sinister that we would turn out to feed into the plot. That kind of mystery element at the beginning of the episode, I think that quite worked well, and the brother trying to find out what it was. I liked that plot. I thought it kind of petered out a bit once we did find out what it was, although actually when they first when the doctor confronted the general and they, pilot's heart, was that what it was called? Yeah. I don't know if they explained it well enough. They kind of just left it there and for a few moments I was like, well, what's pilot's heart? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. It's made up affliction that the writers have come up with, but and we got the explanation to that in a scene later, but it kind of threw me for about a scene that I don't know what this means.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if it was I think it possibly could have been handled a bit better towards the end of their plot. But the beginning, I think it started quite strong. And then the only other thing that I remember thinking about it is that when it was more of a visual thing, when she was piloting the ship and just before she died, I don't know, it was very psychedelic almost the way they filmed it. And
yeah.
I don't know if that really, I don't know. I can't put my finger on why, but I don't think it really worked. I think it was there was something really weird about the way the brother was right behind her and like almost whispering in her ear, and it kind of felt a bit inappropriate.
Yeah.
For a brother and a sister. I don't know. It just it was
yeah, because I remember that because it was quite a string close, wasn't it? And he said a line, I was thinking, hang, where's this going? Like,
yeah,
I gradually put down on that.
Something about having a secret, and then he said something about love, and I was like,
hang on.
and his like lips were like right by her ear when it just felt a little bit inappropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, then he said about the brother. I think, oh, thank God. Like,
yeah.
It was weirdly shot, and then obviously they're just like, she's dead over there, like, when they came in. Adam, what do you think about the subplot on the relationship between the brother and sister?
I don't know how to follow that with the kind of inappropriate talking in the air, and I enjoyed Ben Bailey Smith. He was a good guest starring role. I liked him in there as I did the actress. It was very nice to kind of have that. It was interesting to have that twist, and then her braving it up until, of course, passing it on to Ben Bailey Smith. I'm going to call it Ben Bailey Smith, or Doc Brown, as people rather call him, piloting the ship, and all worked well. It was a nice brother-sister dynamic. They were cool. They were pretty all right. Yeah, not too memorable, but they were good.
Yeah, fair enough. And of course, Eve had her own personal android, who I thought was a bit wasted. I thought he was going to become more part of the story, but he was just there to sort of give her her blockers. I didn't know if he was going to be something to do like with the Pating. Maybe because I think they made a comment in there and said like it couldn't be touched by any like living human beings. But hang on, is he gonna like go against it or something, like sacrifice himself? I don't know, but I just felt he was just a bit sort of wasted. Really, it was just there to sort of help Eve, which I guess was his only command. But what do you think of the android? Starting with Adam.
I think I believe his name was Ronan, and I didn't really think a whole lot to him. I mean, he went with Yaz to sort of capture the Pating, and of course gave the blockers, but didn't contribute a whole lot, and probably was the weaker, which is a bit disappointing because he was an android. I thought maybe they could have dwelled on him a bit more, but they didn't. A little bit of a wasted character, but probably what I would have happily have given. It wasn't that I was necessarily too bored of him, but I think had they given something to do, I would have been like, it seems interesting. But because he was swept aside, we didn't really, because the focus was really more on the brother sister, and also the other names fail me, but the other girl in it, the younger lady.
Oh, the other nurse / doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I thought he did a brilliant job as the android. Like, I was watching with family and they were like, he's not blinking. I was like, oh my God, yeah. He's like, he was really good as an android for. But I didn't think he had much to do. What about you, Philip?
Yeah, he was. I think echoing probably the same points. He was fairly forgettable plot wise. I think. I don't recall massively thinking anything of him apart from the actor did a good job, and I thought, as you just said, he played the android really well. It reminded me of the synths from the TV series Humans in the kind of way he was acting.
Okay.
So which I thought he pulled it off really well. It's sort of that it was that sort of like balance of like being emotionless but having a personality, if that makes sense. So it was a good, so well done on him on playing the character. I just don't think give him much to really do, which sometimes you get background characters and that's fine, but on a confined story like this, maybe he wasn't needed so much. I suppose he was just a plot device, really, in a way.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. But like I said, it's a thin line. It's sort of like you want to give the android obviously emotion, but obviously they are robots. So yeah, I know what you mean. They obviously done it very well in the series, the Channel 4 series Humans. But yeah, no, I say like he was a good actor and did really well, but it's just a shame he didn't be part of the story more. Of course, obviously, after Astos died, we had Mably, who obviously took charge. I thought it was put in a really sort of nice position. Sort of been sort of tested to limits. And obviously, she obviously has some great character development. Sort of seeing other people going through, obviously, like everything sort of being prevailed through sort of traumatic experiences, also the good situations as well. Yeah, what do you think of the character of Mabdi? Starting with Adam.
Yeah, sure. Actress was pretty. Gave a pretty solid performance. I don't recall a whole lot. For the supporting cast for this episode, I kind of feel like I quite like this, but like some of them kind of slipped through the cracks a little bit for me, and that's but I think she did act well. She's scared when she needed to be, helpful when she needed to be. She was for the nurse character, like it felt genuine. I think she felt genuine. Good performance. Character wise, I didn't gauge a whole lot on the characters here. Nothing necessarily sticks to my mind, but with maybe one or two. But I think because I'm not, I guess when we go in, I'm not so. I'm very 50-50 with this one. It's more a case of I sort of take it or leave it kind of thing. Because I guess does that bring us all to the most of the supporting cast apart from Stitch, of course.
Yeah, that's yeah, that is pretty much all the supporting cast got down on my list anyway. Like obviously that's pretty much all of them. But yeah, I didn't know if there was too many, and I don't know. It was a weird kind of thing. Yeah, obviously we'll go into these about the story and that. What were you, Philip? What do you think of?
Yeah, I think she was fine. There was, I don't really have much to say about this. I suppose she had a nice arc in a way, a little character arc of like when she started off, she seemed not very self-assured and doubting herself a little bit with the scene where she where the android was sort of trying to railroad her into getting the medicine for the adrenaline blockers, and she and sort of used her insecurity against her by saying, oh, you have to check with him, do you, kind of thing, to get them, and so that I think that was that. And by the end of that, she'd sort of gained a little bit of more confidence, I think, in a little bit. So there was a nice little story out there, but I don't remember thinking much more about her really.
Yeah, fun fact actually, she starred alongside Jodie Whittaker in the Trust Me series, where she played a doctor. I think I watched the first episode of that series, but yeah, after the episode, it was quite nice.
Yeah, and I think Brett Goldstein, who plays Astos, was in with Jodie Whittaker. I think it was a film they did, Adult Life Skills or something along those lines.
Okay, I feel like I've heard that, but
yeah,
fair enough. And of course, finally we had Yoss, who was the pregnant man who surprisingly got a lot of controversy online and through stupid tabloid papers. But I thought it was one of the funniest aspects of the episode. And for some of the episode dipped for me, obviously, when there was sort of like too much talking and stuff, and sort of not a lot going on, but too much talking. I thought his scenes sort of got through the episode, to be honest. Yeah, what do you think about his comedy and his story about just sort of funny stuff he came out with, sort of guest starting with Adam?
They really did kind of commit to a very absurd nature. I think it was a very funny performance, and yeah, he seemed like such a cool, like a nice guy. Kind of. It's very interesting the fact he kind of didn't want to have the child, but then sort of over the episode, sort of came and just accepted it, and then said to the child, "Oh, I'm your daddy," kind of accepting responsibility at the end. So that was kind of decent. That was all right. It didn't feel too cheesy, I guess. I think going into it, I would thought, oh, I'm not quite sure how how absurd they're going to go, but I think they played it the right amount. It's strange because that's what I would have thought. I would have just thought, oh, maybe they would have, maybe that was just, it would have been a step too far, but it didn't really. And I'm quite surprised that there is this whole controversy around it, because I think the way that the episode played it, I didn't really feel there was much to anything to really complain or really get too angry about, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. What's the deal?
Exactly. What about you, Philip?
Yeah, the controversy baffles me as well. I don't understand why anybody would possibly have a problem with it. It's a sci-fi show, and Pregnant Man is quite a long-running sci-fi trope, in fact. So there's been in loads of, Red Dwarf did it 30 years ago almost. So it's not like it's a new thing, and it's not like it's I don't and the way, and like you say, the way it was done there was literally nothing in there that was they weren't trying to make any particular points. The Pregnant Man storyline sort of had two purposes, I think. One was comedy, just pure comedy, because it was played for laughs quite a lot, but not in a, like Adam said, not in a too cringy way. It was just the right level of sort of played for laughs. But it also it was there to facilitate sort of Ryan's character development as well, with him considering and talking about his father. So it had both the serious element to it through our main character, our regular character, and the sort of more silly element from the actual guy himself. And I think they both worked and worked together, intermeshed quite well, I think. So I don't get why anybody has a problem with it.
No. Yeah, there's no cause for it really. It's just just being silly. Yeah. So going on to the threat, which was really hyped up beforehand, wasn't it? With the universe's most dangerous threat, and we had the Pating. Before we go into it, I'd just like to kind of get both your reactions on when you saw this cute little thing for the first time in the corridor. What were your thoughts your initial thoughts when you saw it on screen first time? Got to start with Adam.
Yeah. I thought it was with that tagline. I kind of just thought, oh, what do we have? And then you kind of see that. I kind of for a moment was a little underwhelmed. There was still that kind of, he still sort of grew a hissy fit, more in the kind of cutesy kind of hissy fit, didn't necessarily bring too much threat or presence. It felt like I feel like suddenly it was a stretch too far, I guess, for me. It wasn't the kind of villain that I could take too seriously, considering this is very much time when the clock is ticking kind of thing. Yeah, and then you just have that kind of running about. I think whenever it was on screen, I was kind of just like, really. It was really odd, bizarre. Some people thought it was cute. I kind of was a little irritated when it was on screen. That's probably a really unpopular opinion, because everyone wants action figures and plushies and dolls. But I guess knowing that like in my mind, that's probably why I'm just like, oh man, I think did they want to did they have this in mind to kind of market as they have like a toy, like I know the adipose that you had like that stress toy and all that stuff, and which is, I kind of thought similarly about I guess like I'm surprised like with the emoji bots they didn't like last year, because that was sort of marketed as kind of the cutesy kind of monster of that series. And then I think I guess also the design of it kind of irked me as well, because it was kind of a mix of Stitch, Crazy Frog, and all these kind of weird things that you wouldn't necessarily associate with the Monster of the Week. But I think that it is more kind of Monster of the Week, and he went away. He just like all the monsters of the series, which is still really strange and bizarre. But yeah, he was the part of the episode where I kind of just went, I just kind of held back a bit and went, especially with the tagline like that, I was really disappointed. Pretty much.
Right. Yeah, like I just forgot about that. I was going to mention that, but yeah, about it just disappearing off. I seriously don't know what their criminal's master plan is.
Also, the name, the name itself, like Pating.
Sounds like it sounds like an onomatopoeia word, doesn't it? It's like you're hitting a
Yeah.
ding.
Yeah. Yeah, it was but it was actually on, I don't know if you noticed this, but on the end credits it said that it was created by somebody else, like Tim Price, I believe it was somebody else. The one created by Chibnall, it was created by the Ting monster was created by somebody else. So I don't know.
That's part of that because they had this whole writers' room
Sure.
aspect to it, wasn't it? So so different. Although episodes are mainly written by one person, or in the case of Rosa, two people, they I think they brought the idea in and then brainstormed it with the group, and in case anybody had anything to contribute and things like. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but something along those lines. So ideas can come from the other writers as well. So I'm guessing that's what happened with this.
It was interesting in the episode. He had the Dr. Sonic, and then conveniently, at some point, sort of near the third act, it's rebooted. I've got it back. Kind of strange, but hey,
didn't it like digest everything else that it ate? So why did it not digest the screwdriver?
Yeah.
It sucked the power out.
And then it sucked it out. I thought that was odd.
Yeah, I thought my reactions to the Pating were first when I first saw it. First of all, was okay, that's not what I was expecting. Then I was like, oh, that looks a bit like Nibbler from Futurama. And then when it bared its teeth and like did the menacing like growl at them, I actually thought, you know what, I quite like this. And I'm one of the people that actually think it works quite well, because I like the sort of juxtaposition of the cute monster, the cute thing that can suddenly, like, if you just look at it and when it didn't know you were there, it looks all cute and docile, and then suddenly it realizes you're there and it's like bares its fangs and it's quite vicious. I quite like that contrast, so it kind of worked for me. The one scene I didn't like, I thought it got a bit too silly, and was when it jumped into the pipe, upset, like, so dived into a pipe to get away or something, and it's like there was like a brief moment where it's like bum was hanging out of the top of the pipe, and before it went in, I was like, okay, they're playing too much on the comedy of it there, because I think for that to work they need it to be menacing. So overall I quite liked it. This isn't something that I thought at the time, but somebody in the comment section on my review pointed out, I can't remember who it was now, so I can't credit them unfortunately, but they pointed out that it would have worked even better or better if the cuteness of it had lured somebody under, like, thinking that, oh, it's just cute, and then that had caught, they'd died because of that, or they'd suffered some massive consequences because they'd underestimated it because it was cute. But nobody at any point underestimates it because it's cute. So I think that person, whoever it was that made that comment, made a good pointed out a bit of the complaint, some of the complaints against it. There'll always be some people that will have hated it, but
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Unlike the pregnant man, which I just can't understand why people have a problem with it. I understand people's issue with this monster. I just don't happen to personally feel the same way, but I understand where people are coming from when they think it should have been a more menacing monster.
Indeed. And are you saying about that animation that with like the butt sort of poking out like that? I kind of thought this does feel really Disney-esque, not very much a threat I'd associate Doctor Who with, which to me it felt really strange.
The one thing I don't think anybody can disagree on, though, is that it looked, in terms of the quality of the CGI, I think it looked amazing. It looks so realistic. Well, so I mean, it's really hard to look realistic when you got these big up cutesy eyes and things, but the rendering on it and the skin texture and everything looked brilliant. I thought, again, really good job on the CGI.
Yeah, no, it definitely mixed in with the sort of skin tones of the ship and that. Just the sort of dark moments. Yeah, no, animation wise is really cool. Yeah, like you, I kind of had that first thing of taking it back. Obviously, you sort of exceed your expectations. Like, oh, this is it. Okay, right. And your mind sort of refocuses. Yeah, I'd say I wouldn't mind what it would have been. It was just sort of kind of deciding whether to take it seriously or find it cute. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they kind of knew. I think they were just like, right, we need to be a bit threatening, but It's also really cute, but I think it was trying to get imbalance, trying to like balance which one they do. But I think the cuteness overall kind of won. But yeah, I like the idea of that commentary. I think that would have been really, really cool. Like, we kind of discussed when we were obviously in the last one about the adipose thing, like of something like that cute and then lures you in. But I guess it was a bit like the adipose, kind of like with the adipose, they obviously just trying to live. But obviously, what they were doing was quite bad. But obviously, what they thought were doing was they just wanted to live. Obviously, and with this, it's kind of the same thing. Like he's just trying to survive basically by eating stuff, and obviously the consequences are people will be dying. But yeah, so I think people would obviously overall have a reaction to it. But I agree with Philip. It's kind of like I can see why people don't like the design or don't like what it was doing, but down to interpretation. There's a few comments actually on the Pating in the comment section, so we'll have a look what we say. Dean Jones, hi mate. He says, I think the Pating would have been a better threat if it increased in size whenever it consumes something instead of looking cute the whole time.
That is, I quite like actually. That would have been pretty good.
Then he'd be like, he would outgrow the ship, wouldn't he? Like, he wouldn't be able to fit in the ship. Let's have a look. Bartholomew says the Pating, in my opinion, was a bad name. Yeah, well, it's quite catchy, but you know. And another person says, I like the contrast of the kind of cuteness and obviously what we said about the cuteness and the threat. Looks cute but deadly. He's kind of like an old girlfriend of mine. Oh dear. So yeah, that the Pating was the Pating, I guess. So I want to talk about some of the story now. Something I think I had a problem with this episode, and kind of made for me it's kind of the weaker episodes of the series, and I think it's kind of thing that's been lowering over the series is I feel I don't know if it's because obviously we're quite big fans of the show, we obviously know what it all is. But I felt with especially with this episode, there was obviously a lot of talking. I don't think not a lot of sort of doing. It was kind of like sort of talking down to us in the sense of some occasions. It really sort of dragged the pacing down the episode a bit. It's sort of dead and stopping the tracks. Like it's like the antimatter scene, for example. It was like I was just really taken out of it, like sort of quite disengaged at that point. It was a nice opportunity for the Doctor. But I think obviously it was trying to explain to like casual viewers what obviously an antimatter sort of matter thing is. But I don't think they would have took it on board anyway. Yeah, what do you think about those complaints and sort of just that the writing stuff about that? Start with Philip.
The antimatter scene. I'd said in a review right at the beginning of the series when, or it might have been for the Rosa one, that I hope that they do. You know, they're clearly doing history educational elements to it as well, and I really like that. And I hoped they did science educational elements as well, which they did in this episode. But it didn't work quite the same way as the history did in the Rosa one, because the history we were learning about in the Rosa one was all intertwined in the story, whereas the antimatter stuff, it was like the plot stopped, we had a science lesson, and then it carried on. So it didn't quite intermingle with the plot in as good a way. So it was a bit disappointing, considering I was hoping we would get some science educational stuff, but I'd like them to more intertwine it into the plot a bit more, I think.
Yeah, I think, as I said, obviously it's kind of going back to obviously its roots of obviously what Doctor Who started to be an education show, which I kind of loved in Rose as well, because obviously with that character, well, obviously she was a real person, but it was that you were kind of learning as you were going along as like the historical film was going. But like I said, with this, I think because it was just like, we're going to stop now, like a science lesson for 5 minutes, like it wasn't really part of the story. So what do you think about Adam?
Well, I think we had a better antimatter lesson in the Three Doctors with Omega's world stuff, because I think it was the two Doctors teaching Jo and like I think it was the unit lot about antimatter and stuff. I could be wrong, but I think that whole antimatter stuff. If I learned about antimatter, I think the Three Doctors, I'd go and learn about that. But yeah, I sort of echo the same points. Kind of stopping it. It's a nice speech, I guess, because she's like, "Oh, I love it," and stuff like that. That's cool. But it was the case of, oh right, a kind of information overload, which was a problem I pretty much had with this episode. It wasn't. It didn't balance itself with, consider it is like a base under siege, and you know, there was a lot more talking than real kind of action, and then going out to, you know, it was mainly more pushed to the third act. But it was a bit expository. So I guess sort of the thing we sort of had with Arachnids in the UK as well. But I think Chibnall more nailed it in The Woman Who Fell to Earth with sort of expository dialogue and action, because you can't have too much expository, you can't have too much action. It's all trying to find out that good balance. I think the last 2 weeks hasn't been the best for that. And yeah,
Fair dues. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it really for the episode. Obviously the ending with the singing, singing that sort of poem type thing. It was quite fun actually. Somebody mentioned this in the review again. I was watching. Like the Doctor was singing along to this like poem thing, but she didn't know much about the 6th, 7th century. But she quite quickly picked up this song at the end. Yeah, is there any other moments or stuff you want to bring up about the episode, like apart from the ending, or?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah. Well, you Adam, you happy to?
I'm just trying to think really. I don't. No, not really. No.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, so I guess our overall thoughts. Yeah, so for me, really, I think it probably was the weakest episode of this series so far, but it wasn't the worst episode, I don't think. There's some really nice moments in it. I thought it was a great premise. I thought that when the comedy was working, it really, really worked. I just, and obviously like this CGI stuff, the score as well. Yeah, just kudos to Tsuranga Conundrum. His score throughout this series has just been on point. And even if sort of like with this episode, for example, the scenes are sort of kind of disengaged with the episode, that music thing keeps you going. So yeah, I'm just kudos to him. Yeah, I just, like Adam said, I just thought some of the scenes, it was just so much sort of talking and information overload, and like Philip said, it sort of like comes to a halt, and you're thinking, oh, come on, let's just carry on a bit further. And yeah, maybe I think maybe as well that some of the characters kind of suffered. Maybe we could have just condensed it down a bit more. But yeah, so I overall think it was some really nice character moments. Obviously, our main cast, that was all great. But for me, it was bland. It's sort of execution in the story wise, but there's some nice moments to sort of bring it up in times. So yeah, that's kind of my overall thoughts. What you, Philip? What are your overall thoughts on the story?
For me, I don't think this is my worst one of the series. I think that still goes to last week's for me. I think because these, like I said, these are very similar episodes in terms of their basic sort of structure. And I think this one just landed it slightly better because it has problems. There was it has a slight pacing issue with the randomly stopping for a 5-minute science lesson in the middle. One or two other what I would consider relatively small problems. But it landed the ending, I think. It actually had a resolution, unlike last week's. And all of the characters, although some of them didn't necessarily get much time and much development, I think they all felt like they were real, and they all were acted well, which again last week I don't necessarily think we got. Last week I liked Chris Noth's character, but he was a Trump parody. It was a bit on the nose. And the scientist woman I thought wasn't very good last week, wasn't very well written, wasn't amazingly, it may have just been the writing, but she just came across as wooden. So I don't think we had anything like that this week. So for me, it's definitely better than last week, and an improvement on that. And it'll still, much like last week, though, it's still an episode I probably wouldn't rewatch unless I was doing a marathon of the series.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'm so glad that we're getting episodes now sort of not written by Christian or giving new writers a go. It'd be interesting to see how they take on sort of like the historical stuff and obviously in episode 7 the sort of futuristic stuff. Yeah, what you had on your thoughts?
Yes,
if you can remember anything.
if I put it together, I think is more a definition of because when I kind of first came out of it, I thought it had its moments. It sort of didn't. I was surprised about the sort of the reaction. A lot of people like really disliked it, and while I wouldn't go too far out, there wasn't a whole. There was a disconnect with the story. I wasn't totally engaged throughout. I kind of feel like stuff was missing. Like they were on the Mind Planet for like a minute or so before they were swept up. Which I think, you know, if we had a little bit more time, because we didn't really know what they were doing. They were mining for something. They were using metal detectors, mining for something, trying to clearly get something. There was clearly an aim for that scene, but that kind of got quickly kind of swept aside. And then of course the kind of the science lesson that kind of stopped the plot. So it was kind of was like an episode that was playing, and then somehow like the pause button was pressed. Then we have a scene where, you know, isn't tangentially related or relevant to the overall narrative, and then kind of press play again. It kind of felt, you know, a little odd. Some good supporting characters, like there was I quite like Ben Bailey Smith, Brett Goldstein was pretty cool. Some decent performances. Not a hugely memorable supporting cast. Pating, I thought was really odd, really strange. I don't think it's. I hate him. I think the kind of social media reaction's been like, all right, you know, I kind of, there's like memes of him and stuff like that. He's very much going to be one of the king of memes, particularly this series, along with Salad Man and stuff like that. Yeah, they will get a plushie or something like that, or Pop Funko. That's going to be highly in demand. I'm not going to rush out for it, but I'm not necessarily on that bandwagon necessarily myself. But I could take him or leave him at this point. I think it's an episode definitely of definition of kind of take it or leave it. I'll probably go another 5, like I did Arachnids in the UK, because it was like it was like Philip said, that kind of the self-contained in a self-contained environment, kind of based on the Siege kind of thing, sort of similar to what we had the week before, and I sort of gave the same thing. So I'd probably echo what I gave Arachnids UK and go 5.
Awesome stuff. That's really, really cool. Yeah, just going into the comment section. I think there's one there's one kind of ruined story. Isaac says, I wasn't a huge fan of this week's episode. The monster was too cute for me to take seriously. Still looking forward to the rest of series 11 though. So yeah, I think I was quite sort of when I sort of came on social media after the episode, obviously it's like I don't think people thought much of the story, but obviously they loved the Pating. And obviously had that polar opposite thing, but that's the great thing about doing reviews and talking to people about it. You know, if it's done in the right, correct manner, do you know what I mean? It's great to have like those opposite opinions and talk about why you don't like something like the other thing. So, so yeah, so there you go. So 5. Obviously, episode 6 is obviously this Sunday, and the Demons of the Punjab, which is written by new writers again, which is giving me Father's Day vibes.
Yeah,
that kind of going back to your past and seeing like a loved one. But obviously, I think her grand's still alive in the present, because I think she gives her a watch, I believe. Yeah, what are your opinions based on the next time trailers and the TV trailers? Start with Philip.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I'm quite interested to see what we get. It does have that kind of like visiting your family's past. It's going to be interesting to see, because it's set during the partition, isn't it? So
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, again, another chance to learn about a interesting bit of history, world history. So that'll be interesting to see what we get to see of that, how much they portray the from what I understand, I don't know a massive amount about it already, so it'll be interesting to learn more, but from what I gather, it was quite a brutal time, and there were some quite vicious acts committed. So it'd be interesting to see if any of that's portrayed.
Yeah, it's a similar thing to Rose, isn't it? Really, like it's like you kind of got to show that rawness, but at the same time, obviously, it's the kind of kid show. So
yeah, and Rosa did a really good job of I think treading that line of it being a family show, so you can't show the full extent of the bad stuff, but they actually showed more of it than in Rosa than I thought they were going to, and I think they did that pretty well. So if they tread a similar line for this episode, I think I'll be quite pleased.
Yeah,
no, that's really cool. What were you, Adam?
I think, well, the cinematography and everything just looks absolutely wonderful. It's visually striking. I'm really intrigued. Just going back because it's that India in the 40s. I guess just like Rosa Parks, because with Rosa Parks, I wasn't really taught about her at school. So it was quite an interesting lesson learned in that episode. That's when I kind of really properly had a full hour history lesson on Rosa Parks, and it'll be the same here with the 1940s India, the culture and all, sort of how culture was at that point. And I'm just looking forward to Yaz interacting with her grandmother, see that dynamic, because I feel like there's definitely going to be a strong episode for Mandip Gill. Especially because, like, I think one of the strong points of Father's Day was, Billie Piper, because that she was at the emotional heart of that story, and I think it's going to be the same here with Yasmin, sort of being in that position. So I think it's going to be a standout for her. It's going to be. Jodie's already feeling like that. Hartnell, you're treading on your own history, and you can't rewrite it, and you can't do this. Setting the. I think she'll be. I definitely feel like this is. I hope this is a Doctor who's very lenient on that as well, because the Doctor had always been lenient, about changing history as such. So I think this is it's definitely open for a good sort of for some really good drama, and I think we're going to get it. And we had that theory. I think we were talking about it in the last week, where because when Yaz meets her grandmother, that sort of helps sort of push Ryan and Graham's relationship as well, the grandson grandfather. Maybe that they sort of feel like they can sort of rekindle a bit, because I do at a point hope, because I think with this episode he didn't save back, which I was really sad at. It saddened me, but I hope that will it will be this episode, or hopefully soon, that they'll really he'll save back, and he'll really they'll really get along, because I think it's got to a point where I think now's about time.
Graham needs that fist bump.
He does. He really, really does. I think that's what I've been waiting for. What I need, and then I'll be satisfied.
If he doesn't call him Granddad by the end of the series, he at least needs to give him the fist bump.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, some sort of it. For me, I'm obviously saying quite open. Obviously, hopefully it would be nice to have another sort of like Rose on our hands. I'm just hoping really for obviously kind of a breakthrough for Yaz, really. We've kind of had just missed opportunities really with Yaz so far. Obviously sort of like over halfway now, so hopefully this is a sort of breakthrough story to really sort of define Yaz. And give her a great story. That's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching this live stream tonight. Thank you for Philip and Anne for joining me. Some great discussions here tonight. Do you have anything you want to sort of discuss about your channels, or anything you want to promote, or
just come and check them out.
Yeah. Check out Philip's review obviously on tonight's episode. Also, so congrats to your don't want to spoil it with the video. But yeah, you have a great surprise in it. I probably will say it for people who want to watch it. But congrats. It was quite funny because we were talking about it, weren't we? You said you were going to film a little segment for it.
Yeah, when we did the last review, I said I had to go straight away and film a segment for the review. That's the beginning of my review of this episode. So, kind of a skit, I suppose, in a way. But So
if you want to see what that surprise is, go to Philip's channel and watch that review. Yeah, so I think I've got a trailer coming out this weekend, kind of like a trailer for part 1 of Series 11. So, and also me and Adam are going to the BFI thing, the Earthshot screening. Is it? Yeah, it's next Saturday.
Yeah, it's a week and 2 days. Thursday now, so yeah, it'll be 9 days till we go to that. I'm really looking forward to it. Seeing Adric's death in HD, it's going to be incredibly heartbreaking on the big screen. It's our second one as well because we had Genesis of Daleks and Earthshock. So, and this is cool, of course, all leading to the season 19 box set at the end of the month. So all exciting times.
Yeah, no, yeah. Obviously, the Genesis screen was a great celebration of fandom and the people working it as well afterwards. But yeah, it was quite funny watching it with fans because there's certain moments you kind of don't pick up on when you're watching with like a big audience. Certain people laughing at certain bits, and you just hilarious. So yeah, I'm really forward to that. But yeah, so that was, I hope we do a video covering that in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, so join us next week sometime for our review of episode 6, Demons of the Punjab, which will hopefully be another great historical story. So from us, have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.